Okay, guys, we will go ahead and get started. So thank you all so much for coming to our resume building workshop. So today I'm basically going to teach y'all how to write a resume that leads to results, because obviously we all have our resumes because we are some way looking for an opportunity. So I'm here to help y'all build a resume that leads to results. So this is presented to you guys by Student Society. So thank you guys so much for being a part of our organization, and I cannot wait to get started. A quick request, if you have not already, everyone please mute yourselves, so that way, there's no voice disruptions and everyone can hear me super. So thank you guys for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm actually going to let Alexis talk about this real quickly. So go ahead, Alexis.
Yeah, so basically, if y'all got our newsletter, we are implementing member points. So this is just to see which members are staying involved and being active. So yeah, you guys can just scan this QR code. It'll take you to a Google Forms. And we're working on updating the Excel sheet and then posting that so y'all can see it on the Google Drive. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep, so
I'll give y'all, oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I'll go ahead and leave the screen on for a couple seconds so that way everyone can access it and fill out the form.
Will you put this as workshop?
Yes, you can go ahead and put it as a workshop. Okay, I'll give it about 10 more seconds and then we will go ahead and get started with the rest of the presentation. And I'll let Alexis go on to the next slide. We have a couple more people joining. So.
We'll also have this at the end of the presentation in case y'all miss it.
I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next slide. For everyone that just joined, thank you guys so much for joining the workshop. If you can, please mute yourself so that way we don't have any voice disruptions. And yeah, so that way you can hear both Alexis and I very clearly.
So this is our resume critique raffle. So we decided just to have a fun wheel of names. So y'all can just put your names in the chat and then we're gonna choose 2 winners. Is that right, Priscilla?
Yes, we're gonna choose 2 winners.
Okay, we're gonna have 2 winners and then yeah, and I'll record that and we'll have it again at the end of the slide. So y'all can put your names and then we'll draw winners.
Yep, and the winner will get a free, the winner will get a free resume review. But yeah, so everyone don't forget to go ahead and put your name in the chat and I will go ahead and go on to the next slide. So hi everyone, my name is Priscilla Danda and I'm currently a finance student at the University of Texas at Dallas. So a little bit about my previous work experience is I have actually worked with 3 startups now. So the first one, I was actually one of the founders, and the second one, I was the director of marketing. And now I'm currently the associate director at a company called Dive. So Dive is actually a group messaging platform that we recently launched. So super exciting. Along with that, I am a marketing intern at Side Channel Security, and I was a intern at Citibank. So a little bit outside of my work experience is that I'm the director of finance here at the Underrepresented Student Society, and I'm very passionate about it because through my internship at Citibank, it was actually specifically for women in business and technology. And through that internship, I learned a lot about how, there is definitely some bias in men versus females, I guess you could say, males versus females. So, and in the technology industry, there is actually not as many female that work in the technology industry compared to males. So that's something that I really wanted to make a difference in, which is why I'm very passionate about this organization. Along with this, I'm also involved with DECA, which is a marketing club, Women in Technology and Business. I'm a part of my school dance team, UTD Lux, and a part of a dance competition board on my campus. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get into the whole point of this workshop, which is to help y'all with resume building. So First, I'm going to go over a couple of general tips and general information. So the first thing to remember is to keep your resume within one page. So obviously, I know a lot of us probably have a bunch of things that we would like to put on our resume, right? However, even though we want to put all those things, it is best to keep it within one page because obviously recruiters aren't only looking at our resumes, they are looking at multiple people's resumes. So it's very important that we keep it within one page because if it's more than one page in length, they are most probably not going to look at your resume and they're going to go on to the next one. So that's definitely something to remember. It is very, very important to keep your resume within one page. Along with this, recruiters do prefer a simple layout. So believe it or not, there are certain like layouts, I guess you could say, of how a resume should look. So that's actually one layout that I'm going to show you guys today. So that way recruiters can easily view your resume and make sure that everything's in order. But definitely having a simple layout that they can find everything very easily and have everything very organized on your resume is very important. Along with that, choosing a clear and easy to read font is a very, very important thing to remember because obviously, yes, I know cursive font does make our resumes look very, very pretty and very appealing. However, it is really important that they're able to read it because obviously, again, recruiters are looking through hundreds and maybe even thousands of resumes a day. And they don't have the time to look through and read in cursive handwriting, right? So it's really important to have an easy to use, easy to read font, my bad. So some examples would be Arial, Times New Roman, Calibri. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I'm assuming it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Another great one is Georgia that I didn't put on here, but those are some great examples of fonts that you can use. Going on, so another thing to remember is this isn't really something that you should have on your resume, but your resume will most probably be reviewed a minimum of 3 times by the following. So obviously, this doesn't apply to every single company that you apply to. These 3 are most probably going to be applied to bigger companies like Citibank, Google, like larger companies that don't have as much time to go through resumes. But if it is going through a review 3 times, the first review will most probably be a technology review. So in the technology review, what they do is they actually pick out words that are relevant to the job description itself. So something to remember here is that, for example, finance student at UT Dallas, right? So for mine, they're most probably going to want me to know how to use Excel. So if they see the word Excel in my resume, that's something that the technology review is going to pick out and then send it to the recruiter. Once all of the resumes have gone through the technology review and go to the recruiter, when the recruiter looks at it, they're probably going to look for the same thing like general information. After the recruiter reviews it, that's when they're going to send it to the hiring manager, and that's when it's going to go to the human resources department. And obviously, if your resume is, if your hiring manager does like your resume, then that's most probably when you're going to get an interview. So going on from there, another important thing to remember is to match the description of the job you're trying to get, because this will definitely significantly increase your chances of getting the job. Because obviously, if you show the individuals that you can do what they're looking for, then you're set. You're most probably going to get the job, right? So an example would be here, if I'm applying for a marketing internship, for example, then if I'm applying for a marketing internship and they say that they want me to be they want me to be able to market on LinkedIn. So for me, in that case, I would put on my resume in LinkedIn, and through my current marketing internship, I have actually done it. I marketed on LinkedIn before. So if I put that in my job description in my resume and match their job description, I'm more likely to get the position. Give me 1 second, guys. We do have a couple of people in the waiting room, so I'm going to go ahead and admit them really quickly.
I just wanted to pop in, if you are applying for medical school, they typically get like thousands of resumes like every year, so they don't read through every one. So instead they have like a selection process, and they use like a resume scanning software that scans for specific words in your resume. So like, let's say if you were like scribing, I would like put specific words like, oh, you follow like a physician around and you're able to get like shadowing experience. And also you like can type really fast, just like specific keywords that the medical schools would like to see.
Yep, so that's a great tip there too. So let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. I'm not sure what that green line is, but sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure what that is, but let's go ahead and get into the general information a little bit more. I promise I'm almost done with the general information, guys. This is the last slide about general information, but another thing that is actually very, very helpful is to have a master resume as well as more specified resumes. So for me, for example, I'm currently a finance student. That's what I'm majoring in. However, I'm also minoring in marketing. So with that, obviously, I am going to be applying for positions where I do have marketing experience as well as finance experience. However, even though they both are in the business industry, they are both very different career paths. So with that, I do have one master resume. And in that master resume, I have like every single job that I've done, every single organization that I've been a part of, every single skill that I have. So that master resume is about 2 pages long. However, obviously, I do need to shorten it whenever I do apply for positions. So I do have a resume specified for finance and a resume specified for marketing opportunities. So with that, in my finance one, I would include things like how I'm the director of finance, for example. Another example would be how I have example in Excel. But when it comes to marketing, in my marketing one, I would probably include things like my experience as a director of marketing or my experience in my marketing internship. Along with that, I would probably include that my certifications include marketing on LinkedIn and Canva, Hootsuite, stuff like that, because those are the things that are going to be applicable for my marketing experience and the marketing opportunities that I'm applying for. And then that's why I have a separate one for finance, because obviously those are separate from marketing. So along with that, definitely articulate the descriptions differently. So when I say this, a great example would be launching a website versus building a website. So for example, if I'm applying for a business internship, I would put that I launched a website. However, if I was applying for a computer science internship, I would put that I built a website. Obviously, the way that you send your message is very important because you want to show them that you can do what they're looking for. So now probably the part that you guys are waiting for, let's go ahead and start building the resume, right? So the best and the most easiest thing to do, in my opinion, is list out all the information for the things that I have listed here. So include your education, technical skills and certifications, your prior work experience, leadership, organization, and competitions that you've participated in, honors and awards, and any other relevant information. So go ahead and start out by listing what school you go to, any technical skills and certifications that you have. So for me, for example, I'm certified in Google Analytics, LinkedIn marketing, and digital marketing. So those are some certifications I can include. Along with that, include your prior work experience, any leadership opportunities that I have, organizations that I'm involved with, competitions that I've competed in and succeeded in, along with that, any honors and awards that I've received, and obviously any other relevant information. So the easiest thing to do is by listing out all of this information and then going in and organizing them. So let's go ahead and start putting together a format. So the first thing to do is to create a headline. So in the headline, it's really important to include your name, your email address, your phone number, and any links to any important websites that pertain to you. So for example, your LinkedIn, your GitHub, or any other portfolios. For example, if you are a marketing major, sorry, I'm using a lot of marketing related terms here, but that's because I'm a business major. So it's it's pretty easy to relate to that. But for example, if you're a marketing major, you probably have a marketing portfolio. So definitely include your marketing portfolio so they can see the type of work that you've done in the past. So actually now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys an example. So this is actually my headline of my resume. So as you guys can see here, I did include my name at the very top. So your headline is going to be at the very top of y'all's resume. So definitely include your name at the top, put your email address, your cell phone number, and obviously any other links. And as you can see, I did put my LinkedIn here. So if you guys want, you can definitely connect with me, But yeah, so this is just an example of how a headline is supposed to look. So let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. So the next tab is so for your education, you need to include the university that you are currently attending. So obviously I know we probably do have some high schoolers in this workshop. So definitely include the high school that you attend. So include the university, high school, whichever school you are currently attending. Along with that, include your major, any minors that you might be pursuing, and the degrees that you're pursuing, obviously. So definitely include that information. And then the next thing to include is your GPA. So obviously the GPA is optional. However, it is recommended. So one thing to remember here is this is actually something that when I talk to someone who works for a professional resume, reviewing place. I don't really know what they call it. So one of my friends, she actually mentioned that it's definitely important if you have a GPA higher than 3.0 out of a 4.0 scale, then you can go ahead and include it on your resume. However, if you have below a 3.0, it's not as recommended. It's definitely recommended to not put your GPA on there. So keep in mind that if you have a 3.0 or higher, that's when you should add your GPA onto your resume. And last but not least, definitely include your graduation year. So obviously, if you are, obviously you might be, for example, say you started college this year, okay? So say you started college this year, but you have enough credits. Some people are, set to graduate 3 years from now, or maybe even 2 years if you're super smart. But definitely include your expected graduation year, not your class graduation year, if that makes sense. So here's an example of the education section. So as you can see, I did include the university that I attend. So the University of Texas at Dallas. I included my major, which is a bachelor's of business and finance. Along with that, I am minoring in marketing. So I included my minor as well. And then obviously I did include my GPA. And then I do have my graduation year, which is May 2023. So that's just an example of how your education section is supposed to look. So next comes the formatting of your work experience. So this is probably one of the most important parts of your resume, just because it's a part that your recruiters are going to be looking at the most. So the first thing to do is to include the company that you work at. So you do need to include the company, your position, and when you started and ended. So obviously, if you are still currently doing the job, then you would put your start date, and then you would put like the dash, and then put present. So that way they know that you are currently working there. Along with that, include the city which you worked in. So for example, for my internship, it is remote actually. So for that, I did not put a location. Along with that, have a description of what you did during your time working with the company and try to use numbers as much as possible. So basically in this description, obviously you can go to your hiring. So say you currently have a job. Yes, you can go to your hiring manager and ask them like, hey, what's my job description? And then copy and paste that. However, I do not recommend that, mainly because your resume is there because you want to show people how you were different compared to everyone else that had a similar position as you. So they want to see how you were an asset to the company. So a great thing to use here is numbers, because obviously using percentages is a great way to scale this. So I'll actually get into an example with mine, so that way you guys can see what I mean when I say talk about how you benefited the company compared to everyone else. And then last but not least, definitely use action verbs, because obviously people want to see how you benefited the company again. So action verbs are a great way for that. So here's an example of the work experience section. So as you guys can see here, the cybersecurity company that I work at is Side Channel Security, and I'm a marketing intern. So I put the company on top. Underneath that, I did put my position. And then to the right here, I did put the time frame in which I worked at the company. So my internship is actually ending in August. So I put from June 2020 to August 2020. Along with this, so when I talked about here, like I said, how obviously talk about what you did during your time working with the company and how you benefited the company and why you were an asset, right? So notice I'm emphasizing the word you, because you basically want to use your resume as a way to brag about yourself. So what I mean by that is, as you can see here, I was the director of marketing for a startup. So with that, I definitely work with social media, and I honestly could have put on my resume that I managed the social media platforms and increased following. However, an alternative to that is saying this. As you can see here, I increased the follower ratio by 48% over the course of 2 weeks, as well as increased post interactions to include 200 plus comments from followers and potential customers. So do you guys see the difference between the two of those? Rather than saying that I managed a social media account, I mentioned that I was able to increase the follower ratio by 48% over the course of 2 weeks and increase post interactions to include 200 plus comments. So that shows that I was an asset to the company, because I was able to increase our follower ratio more than anybody else in the company in a short period of time. So when a recruiter sees that, they're going to be like, wow, she was really an asset to this company because she was able to do something that other individuals weren't able to do. So with that, obviously the companies will be impressed and probably offer you an interview if you can show them that you did something that other people weren't able to do, because they're going to want you to apply that knowledge to their company as well. But yeah, so this is just kind of like a description of what I did through my internship. So definitely include what you did, obviously, and again, how you helped the company. So now we get into the leaderships and extracurricular activities. So in this, you need to include any leadership positions that you've had in the past or ones that you currently have in organizations, or any other volunteering opportunities, stuff like that. Along with that, organizations or clubs that you are or you have been involved with in the past. So the next thing that I have is actually the honors and awards section. So what you can do, you can separate the leadership and extracurricular activities as well as the honors and awards section, or you can combine them. I did put them in two separate slides because obviously you can choose whether or not you want to put them both in the same one, or you can make them two completely different sections, but I'll get into that a little bit more. So in the honors and awards section, you should include the university honors that you have. Some examples of this could be scholarships, case competitions, or any other things that you may have received through your school. Along with that, awards you have received in the past or ones that you have currently received, or competitions that you participated in and succeeded in. So an example of this is mine again. So obviously, as you can see here, I actually did combine mine. Again, you can keep it separate. However, it does really depend on the space that you have in your resume because see, for me, I personally do not have space in my resume, so I went ahead and combined them. Another thing to remember here is that notice how in the dates, I put all of the ones that are present on the top and then all of the previous ones below. So one thing to remember is that you should have your resume in a chronological order. This does apply for both the work experience and the organizations because obviously they do want to see your most relevant experience first. So as you can see here, so for leadership, I did put the Director of Finance for the Underrepresented Student Society. Please ignore how I accidentally forgot to put the date here. But obviously I would put like July 2020. Along with this, organizations that I'm involved with would be like DECA. Along with that, awards that I received would be like how I won first place, finalists for an incubator competition, stuff like that. So definitely include all your honors, leadership, organizations, competitions, anything that you can really think of. So the thing is, if you are a university student, in the work section, it is completely okay to include any work that you've done. If you worked in middle school, you can definitely include that. Obviously, if it's not as relevant to the position that you're applying to, definitely don't include it. I would stray away from that. However, you can put as much work experience as you want. If you are in college, I do recommend that you put your obviously your competitions, organizations, leadership, and honors from college specifically because obviously, yes, high school is can be relevant. However, I highly doubt that your recruiter wants to know that you won like the spelling bee when you were in 3rd grade, right? So definitely include stuff that is the most relevant, like I said before, and put them in chronological order as well. So next we get into the skills and additional information section. So some things to include here are any online tools you know how to use or have, or any technical skills that you have. So for example, if you are a computer science major, this is a way to showcase that you know how to use like C++, Python, Java, anything related to that. So that way your recruiters can again see that. If it does go through a technology review, they can again pick out those words and know that you have those skills. Obviously for people who aren't computer science majors like me, I obviously don't know how to use C++ or Python, Java, I don't know how to use that stuff, but I do know how to use Microsoft Office, Canva, Hootsuite, stuff like that. So definitely put technical skills or online tools that relate to your specific major. Along with that, definitely put your eligibility to work in the US because this is a very, very important thing that recruiters are going to be looking for because they do want to know if they need to give you a work visa. So for example, for me, I am eligible to work in the US because I am a US citizen. So I would include that in my resume. Along with that, include any languages you are fluent in because obviously knowing other languages is definitely a plus because it shows that you can work with individuals internationally. So for me, for example, in case you guys could not tell already, I am Indian. So I actually speak Telugu, so I am fluent in that language. So in mine, I would put that I am fluent in English and Telugu. Along with that, you can include any other information that you think might be important to add. Looks like there's someone who... Sorry, guys, there's some people still joining, so I'm just admitting them into the room. So let's go ahead and go on to the examples. So here's an example of the skills and additional. So as you guys can see here, for tools and skills that I have, I am I do know how to use Microsoft Excel, Microsoft tools like Office tools, Adobe Acrobat, Google Applications, Hootsuite, and Canva. So those are the tools and skills that I included because obviously I I am pursuing a minor in marketing. So as you guys can see here, Hootsuite and Canva are very popularly used in the marketing industry. So because of that, I did include that there to show that I do know how to use it. Along with that, for certifications, as you guys can see here, I am certified in Google Analytics, digital marketing, and LinkedIn marketing. So those are just some things that I included here. Along with that, a great place to showcase your certifications is on LinkedIn, guys. That's a great place to put it because obviously if you guys do have a LinkedIn, and if you don't, I highly recommend you make one because it is a great place to find internship opportunities. But obviously you can put it there, and because your LinkedIn is on your resume, your recruiters will be able to access your LinkedIn and see all your work experience there if you have anything different there as well. As for eligibility, like I said, I am a US citizen, so I am eligible to work in the US with no restrictions. And for languages, I put that I'm fluent in English and Telugu. So that's actually all I had for this resume building workshop, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I hope the format that I gave you guys was very helpful as well. So I highly recommend you all take action and improve your resume now because obviously, as you guys may or may not know, and if you guys haven't already actually, go ahead and follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. If you guys go and follow us, we are tracking that, and we will provide y'all with 100 plus opportunities. That includes organizations, internships, shadowing opportunities, and stuff like that. And y'all can put your resumes to great use by applying for those opportunities. So definitely go and do that if you guys haven't already. Along with this, I actually have also included free resume editing websites. So that way y'all can just click on these links and submit your resumes. Obviously, we will be doing a raffle type of thing. So that way the two lucky winners will receive a free resume review and edits. So obviously, because we are only doing that for 2 people, I did want to give you all the opportunity to go and look at these sites as well so you guys can get free resume editing. So yeah, I will actually go ahead and hand it back over to Alexis.
So I'm gonna draw the winners. Would y'all be interested in like a LinkedIn workshop? Because I know LinkedIn is like growing super big now, and I think it's super important to have.
Definitely include that in the messages if you guys, or I don't know what it's called, like the chat feature, the chat feature if you guys think that's something. Okay, well, looks like a LinkedIn workshop next. I am in case you guys don't know, ask Alexis. Like, I'm in love with LinkedIn, so I would love to do a workshop on that for y'all.
And I know, so while I set up this wheel of name, I know a lot of students here are like pre-med, so I can hand it over to Rebecca to give like med school resume advice and tips.
Hey guys, so quickly, I want to mention for those that want to apply to med school, you should put on your resume your science GPA and your overall GPA. Of course, have in mind what Cressida mentioned, that if you have a below a 3.0, it's best to not put it in just because it just won't look as competitive. And personally, I like to separate my experiences based on clinical and non-clinical. Of course, it's if you have done a lot of experiences on both things. Like, for example, if you only have one non-clinical experience, you should not separate it. You should just put experiences like in volunteer work. For leadership, like mention any internship that you have done. And of course, give importance to research, because in med school, research is seen as highly competitive. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say like the top 3 things for like a med school application and make you stand out is research, clinical experience, and volunteer experience. So like medical schools are gonna know if you're doing stuff just to check off a box. So if you have like anything interesting you can put on your resume, I definitely put it on there. So like, let's say if you were like a founder of an organization, then you would put it on your resume, of course. Let's say like you ran a bake sale for like elderly people, and like you have to like like put on your resume like what you learned from your experiences, and that will make you stand out. So I'm just gonna share my screen to choose 2 winners. Okay. I think I have everyone's name. If you're not on here, please put it in the chat. Yay!
Yay, congrats!
Okay. Okay, so winners, just email us after with your resume attached, and we'll respond back and critique your resume. So we're gonna choose one more.
Ooh, so close.
Ooh, I was so close. Okay, but yeah, winners, just let us know and email us after the workshop. And if you haven't already, make sure you fill out the member points form so we could track it on the Excel sheet.
Yep. And definitely when you email us, email the USS email address and mention that you are sending us an email regarding the resume reviews, and we will get back to y'all in probably maximum a week because obviously we do want to give you guys the opportunity to apply for other positions in the meantime. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. You guys can take yourselves off of mute and ask your questions. Obviously, I would love to interact with y'all. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming, and I hope this helped y'all.
Right before the question,